Hey guys, my name is Matimio and welcome to an episode of Weekend Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming related questions and then I'll give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Twitter or Discord message. The first question of the day comes from Fatal Deluxe and he asks, what do you think of the 3 new operators? Whilst I think the 3 new operators are great additions to the game, I believe that each have their drawbacks as well as the things that make them good. First of all, I think Sofia is a little bit overpowered at the moment. Her Greasemont mines, just like Ella's, obviously do the concussion effect. They're a little bit powerful at the moment to have 4 of them, but then again, other than that, she's in a fairly stable place. Vigil, going over to the defenders, he seems to be not being picked that much, and he's a new operator, and I played some ranked earlier, and he didn't seem to be getting picked that much, which surprised me because he's a new operator. I think that's just because his ability is at the moment slightly underpowered, with the fact that the drones can still pick up his sense around the sides of their screen. There is still the little effect, which tells you that he is there. This will stop people from wanting to go into Windows, so he still needs something to be done about him to make him slightly more viable. Now, Dakaibi is the operator that I've seen being picked the most. I feel this is because her gadget is just so revolutionary, it's completely changed the meta of the way people play Valkyrie and other operators. IQ has also been buffed from these updates, but with Dakaibi and IQ as the combo of being able to call phones and then IQ just wallbang them, maybe Dakaibi needs a little bit more balancing as well. The next question up is from Ben. He says, recently in an AQA, UB said they were buffed Shanker, but that means reworking him. Do you feel Shanker needs to be changed to be good, or are UB just not seeing a clearer picture to buff him? Now, I think he's talking about the Reddit questions that some of the Ubisoft team were answering, and my answer to that is, I feel, as someone who's dabbled with main Shanker, I played him for quite a while when I was back on Xbox, I feel Shanker does need a buff. He is still in a bad place, as he has been since the game was launched. Obviously, with the start of Season 2, when they put the shield on him from Myra, it was a good buff, it did help him, but he is still in a position where he needs to be buffed. I personally don't know how Ubisoft will do it, but I guess we're just going to have to trust them and hope that they know what they're doing. The next 3 questions come from Kinnan, and the first question he asked me are, what are your opinions on the new zombie-styled game mode to be added in the game in Year 3? Now, I know that he's talking about Mission Outbreak. I've always been sceptical since the first leaks came out. I've been sceptical about how UB would do it, because I don't want a game like Siege to go into just a mainstream line of, let's add a new game mode, hey, let's get in zombies. Just like the Call of Duty franchise has done. It's gone into a mindset of, we need to have zombies in it, when really the only people who have ever done zombies right in COD have been Treyarch. I'm hoping that Ubisoft do it well. If they don't do it well, I'm not gonna go as far as stopping playing Siege, but I don't want them to mess it up and mess the game up as a whole. The next question coming from him is, do you think Ash is overshadowed by Sofia now? Now, I understand this, as when I first played the TTS, I thought this as well, that Ash was just going to become absolutely redundant, but I feel like she hasn't been completely overshadowed, and people still would actually pick Ash over Sofia. It's just because Ash has that sprinting potential. She has the 3-speed, no hitbox combo of just being able to run into the objective, take everyone out, 10 seconds into the round. Sofia doesn't have that, because she only has 2 speed. Now, whilst obviously they both have their advantages, Sofia is a much more tactful, let's take our time pushing into the objective kind of operator, but I don't think Ash is overshadowed by Sofia in the slightest. The third and final question from Kinnan is, what do you think of a new operator that is a defender, and their gadget is a large deployable shield, with a peek hole in the middle for the defenders to see through? I think this would be a good addition to the game, because not only would it make Ash, in a way, more useful to the offensive team, as she can destroy the shield with a reaching round, but also Tachanka is going to be more useful at holding off windows to the objective, possibly. Now, I feel if you're going to go as far as having it at the height that Tachanka can see through it with his turret, that'd be a bit overpowered, because you'd have to have it at a height where the attackers wouldn't be able to vault over it, which would make it way too overpowered. I do see where you're coming from. I do think this would be an amazing idea, but again, Ubisoft is going to have to think of a way to make sure that this is not overpowered, because I can imagine a gadget like this getting overpowered very easily. And yes, as your last question, you thought that Ashe is getting a bit overshadowed, this is a good way to make Ashe a bit more viable. But then again, impacts can also destroy shields, and Sofia has the impact launcher. So if they do it, Ubisoft's going to have to think of a way to not get it overpowered, and yes, it probably would give a little bit of a buff to Tachanka as long as you use the combo of the two. The next question comes from Steve, and he asks, do you feel that PUBG on Xbox won't be that successful? Fortnite has blown up on the consoles. Do you think PUBG on Xbox is really that good when there's a free option that others may prefer? Now, you can say the same thing about PUBG on PC. Obviously, Fortnite is there as well, but again, Fortnite came last. It came second on PC, and obviously it's come already onto consoles. So I don't know how it's going to work out, if I'm completely honest. But I think just because of how hyped PUBG has been on PC, the Xbox community is going to swarm to it on Tuesday when it comes out, and it's going to be blown up into a massive game, just like it has been on PC. I do have my worries about the controls and connection or whatever, but those are irrelevant for this question. But I think I probably will have a question later on to answer those. The next question comes from Joe, and he asks, if there was one game to be announced anytime soon, other than Half-Life 3 or Portal 3 or Left 4 Dead 3, what sequel/prequel would you want to come out? Now that's actually a really good question. I had to actually think about that one. I think what would be really good is a prequel to the Halo franchise. It would be a game where it's before Master Chief's created, before the Spartan program was created, and it'd be just Marines when the UNSC was first created, and it's the very initial, the little fights between the Covenant and the UNSA before the main war broke out. I think that'd make a really cool game, and Bungie/343 would be able to take it back to Halo, back to its roots of good old Halo Reach, Halo 1, Halo 2, all of those good Halos, before you got all the features that came from Halo 5, like the ADSing whilst being able to do everything. And because in Halo 5 it took it to a very classical, stereotypical FPS type game, and I personally didn't enjoy it. The next two questions come from Azakel, and the first one is, why do you think indie games have been such a great success on PC? And the second one is, are indie games the future of gaming? Now, for the first one, I think that indie games have been such a great success on PC because they just breathe something different into the gaming community. AAA titles and big developers have been grinding out the same games for years now, and indie games just give people a chance to experience a different type of game, which isn't like the ones they get from big publishers like Bethesda or Ubisoft or Treyarch or any of those. Okay, and the second one, I think the indie games aren't the future, but they are a very big part of gaming. I think that AAA developers have to stay around in the gaming community to hold it together and keep the money flowing in. But indie games are a massive part of it because they will allow the bigger developers to change their games up as well and allow the gaming community to continue to thrive. But yeah, guys, that's about it for this episode of Weekend Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. What do you think Ubisoft could do to buff Tachanka? What do you think of Mission Outbreak? When PUBG comes to Xbox, do you think it's going to do well? And what do you think for the future of indie games and the future of gaming in general? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you would like to submit your own questions for an upcoming episode, you can leave a comment down below or by sending me a Twitter or Discord message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.